Hey there guys, Nervous Trading Cards. Today I'm going to give my personal, more in-depth opinions on the fact that we now have three clans, the pros and the cons of them, mostly the cons, but we've been hearing a lot of people talk about how they don't like the three clan, or the three formats, but, I think it's about time we actually talk about why that is a bad idea. But let's go on ahead and start with the pros of having it. Of course, the pros of it is that the people that have invested in the V series, they're not technically completely left out, as well as it means that we are still technically getting true clan-based support with the twice, the bi-yearly support with clan selections or whatever they'll end up continuing calling them into the future, as that means that as far as premium goes, we'll also get straight up clan support as well, so clans will not be dead. There's no way they're just going to straight up kill clans. It's too much of an identity with the game. So I do personally believe that it is a strong plus that it means that we are still going to continuously get clans for, premium format more than anything. And the people that do like, an imaginary gift centric format is definitely going to be for the best. Now, there's also means that, assuming that they hit probably the two or three decks that are left in the V series that are really silly, and they keep up with this rather well good card design. With the only one that's maybe problematic is Shiryuki, but it's not the worst. It's not as bad as people say it is, but it's still definitely not. I think it's definitely probably their worst designed of all these bosses, like as far as its abusability goes. But I will say I'll at least give them a slight pass on that. It's not as bad as people say. But assuming that, like I said, they hit some of the more stupid decks, like mostly Gabriel, maybe Sweep Karanto, maybe Jaggy Shot. Jaggy Shot's just literally like a +3 for free. Like, why? Why? I mean, I know he's not actually, but Jaggy Shot's just such an insane card for literally nothing, and I think that if you would hit both Tachikaze and Angel Feather, it would eventually go around to, you know, them being hits anyway, to Narukami needing to be hit in some kind of way. But that's just my personal opinion from playtesting, but, could easily be wrong in that department as well. So, that is a very strong thing that seems like because they're trying to lower the power level with the clan selections a bit, or at least open up the game a bit more, it does mean that V Series gets to be this own little more experimental, I want to say, and keeps, more older fans a little bit more happy that like this more concentrated but also nostalgic format. It's just going to become more of a type of legacy format more than anything, and of course, all that stuff can then easily be adopted straight over in the premium for you to have more fun with if you're willing to spend the extra money or willing to deal with the more crazy zaniness that is actual premium format. So, with that being said, because the standard format, is looking like, assuming that they handle the card design well and looking at the clan selection, they'll probably handle it pretty well. At least so far, they'll handle it well enough. And premium's just going to be premium, and those two formats need to stay. You always have this, since we have the split, standard and premium are perfectly fine, and they can stay. But there's definitely the issue of, going forward with the V series being another added on, as that will put a lot more stress on players and card shops. Now, this is a really big thing. So, if you do not know, there's really a very different card shop culture between Asia, specifically Japan, and the West, majority of the world. So, the thing is that in Japan, Vanguard's pretty big. Not like the big, but it's pretty big, and most card shops can run multiple tournaments a week there, and thus they can run multiple formats a week. But the problem is that the Vanguard player base size is not really big enough to really support three formats. Most of those card shops could easily support both a standard and a premium, as most of them did have like 2 to 3 weeks that did days of the week that could, support Vanguard. I know there's one card shop in Japan that does like 4 tournaments a week, and it was like 2 premium, 2 standard, which is insane. But in the West, Vanguard's not nearly as popular, and thus it makes it a lot harder for shop tournaments to really occur to have multiple a week. There's only a couple of shops that I've seen here, at least in America, that have more than one night of Vanguard a week. And when you have 3 formats, it's like how do you split that up? Is because if you say, all right, majority of the players want to play premium, but then you have these kids that want to play V standard, and there's also other people that want to play, Neo standard, as I'm going to be calling it for the purposes of most videos, probably into the near future. Then what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Like my shop that I've been going to for years now, I just recently moved, so I can't go there anymore. But it only had one a week, and basically what we would do is that we would just alternate every week. 1 week standard, 1 week's premium. It was simple. It made to where both sides got to experience stuff, and even then we would still come together and just play for funds and stuff. So that was manageable. But most card shops, at least here in America, are like that, to where they can't afford more than one, maybe 2 days a week to run Vanguard tournaments. Thus, what you're going to do, because regardless, you're going to alienate players. And on top of that, usually communities at card shops in the West, specifically here in America, for Vanguard, don't usually get much above 10, 15 tops. I've seen some that have like 20, 30. But usually 10, 15 is the max, because usually the amount of players at a Vanguard plays at a card shop I've seen overall here in America is about 5 to 8, like on average. And that does hurt things quite a bit. It just puts a lot more stress on both the player base, more internationally, as well as card shops as well. It's more internationally, but these effects will still be felt in Japan. And it's just going to create more of a divide in the player base, which is not really good. I do personally think that B Premium will be the least played, but it'll still definitely have its wave existence. I personally think that V Premium should exist, but I don't think it should be an official format per se. I think it should be like, because how like we have side tournament like of things at regionals and stuff. I think that should be one of those things where V Premium should be one of those things, but we still keep getting the V Premium boosters, so if they can basically just be clan boosters for Premium, essentially. Be like, hey, we're going to continue doing like this, but they'll tend to be Premium boosters, and if they want to make actual just straight, like, and if they want to, they can even throw in strides and stuff and kind of make them into these weird amalgamations of Premium boosters. I think that would have been the better way to handle it. Is to be like, hey, V Series cards are still being made. It'll still be, technically a format you can play, because we'll still be making cards with the V icon. And, and then you could have like the dedicated premium sets. And at regionals, that could be a side event. That could be the side event for regionals, like the main one. And it'd be like, okay, cool. And even at Worlds, I guess, if they wanted to have a little separate thing, I don't know, some kind of exhibition was V Premium, that could also work. But I think that personally, we should still be getting like the once or twice a year V Premium boosters, but they should probably be mostly technically premium support. But you could still make them V Series things to have it to where it's more of, hey, you guys can still play this. If your shop wants to support it, it can. But it's not going to be like the official format. You can just keep it standard in premium. But that being said, I'm going to leave it at that for now. Nothing really else to say on the matter. There is definitely some upsides. It keeps some people happy. It definitely, does help some card shops that have invested in the V Series. Helps them, not get completely, screwed over by this like they did at the end of G. This is definitely a smoother move than it was from G to, V Series. But it definitely does hurt. It does hurt a lot. And we'll just see how it ends up going. I personally like V Series overall-ish. I definitely have not liked this. This last year has been some of the least fun I've had with the game. Even when we finally started getting more interesting card designs in Standard, it's been some of the most just trash, just every set power creeps to last, and there's like almost every set has had a tier 0 or almost tier 0 deck, and it's just being... It's honestly the end of G, but worse. So at least at the end of G, you could still, play smart enough and beat some of the meta decks, but my gosh, like, I like V, but, well, I'm just going to stop there, because otherwise I'm just going to keep rambling, and I'm probably about to go into some kind of rant. So, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Keep playing the games you want to play, and as always, remember,